What's the best way to prepare for a test? To actually practice the test. Hi, I'm Nivisha and today we will practice an actual IELTS-like listening test. If it's just practice, why watch this video? It's because once you finish writing your answers, we'll go through them together and figure out why you got the right ones right and what went wrong with the incorrect ones. From here on, for each section, you will get a few seconds to prepare and then a recording will play. Listen to it carefully and answer the questions that you see on the screen. And later on, we'll go through all the answers together. So, get ready for part 1 and all the best. Let's begin the test.
You will hear a telephone conversation between a customer and an agent at a company which ships large boxes overseas.
Good morning, Packham's shipping agents. Can I help you?
Oh, yes. I'm ringing to make inquiries about sending a large box, a container, back home to Kenya from the UK.
Yes, of course. Would you like me to try and find some quotations for you?
Yes, that'd be great. Thank you.
Well, first of all, I need a few details from you.
Fine.
Can I take your name?
It's Jacob Mkere.
Can you spell your surname, please?
Yes, it's Mkere.
Is that M for mother?
Yes.
Thank you. And you say that you will be sending the box to Kenya?
That's right.
And where would you like the box picked up from?
From college, if...
OK, right. Now, obviously insurance is an important thing to consider, and our companies are able to offer very good rates in a number of different all-inclusive packages.
Sorry, could you explain a bit more?
Yes, sorry. There's really 3 rates according to quality of insurance cover. There's the highest comprehensive cover, which is...
Hey, so you just finished part 1 of our IELTS listening test. Wasn't it good? Practicing like this will familiarize you with the test. The more you practice, the better you'll get. Our experts at Leap Scholar can help you navigate more practice tests like this for all the IELTS section. Try the Leap Scholar free IELTS demo where you will learn with India's top IELTS educators. They will practice with you and resolve your queries. Most of our students score a 7+ band. Click on the link in the description to book a demo now for free. Done? Now let's move on to listening part 2. Ready? Set, go.
You will hear a radio broadcast called Focus on the Arts. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 16 on page 4. Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 16.
Hello, and welcome to Focus on the Arts. I'm your host, Dave Green, and this is your very own local radio programme. Every Friday evening, we put the spotlight on different arts and culture facilities and look at the shows and events that are on offer in the coming week. And today, the focus is on the National Arts Centre. Now, if you don't already know it yourself, I'm sure you've all heard of it. It's famous throughout the world as one of the major venues for classical music. But did you know that it's actually much more than just a place to hear concerts? The centre itself is a huge complex that caters for a great range of arts. Under a single roof, it houses concert rooms, theatres, cinemas, art galleries, and a wonderful public library, as well as service facilities including 3 restaurants and a bookshop. So, at any one time, the choice of entertainment there is simply enormous. So, how did they manage to build such a big arts complex right in the heart of the city? Well, the area was completely destroyed by bombs during the war in 1940. So the opportunity was taken to create a cultural centre that would be what they called the city's gift to the nation. Of course, it took a while for such a big project to get started, but it was planned in the 60s, built in the 70s, and eventually opened to the public in 1983. Ever since then, it has proved to be a great success. It's not privately owned, like many arts centres, but is still in public hands. It's run by the City Council. Both our National Symphony Orchestra and National Theatre Company were involved in the planning of the project, and they're now based there, giving regular performances every week. And as the centre is open 363 days of the year, there are plenty of performances to choose from.
Before you hear the rest of the broadcast, you have some time to look at questions 17 to 20 on page 5. Now listen and answer questions 17 to 20.
So, to give you some idea of what's on, and to help you choose from the many possibilities, we've made a selection of the star attractions. If you're interested in classical music, then we recommend you go along to the National on either Monday or Tuesday evening at 7:30 for a spectacular production of The Magic Flute, probably the most popular of all Mozart's operas. It's in the Garden Hall, and tickets start at only £8, but you'll have to be early if you want to get them that cheap. And remember, it's only on for those 2 evenings. For those more interested in the cinema, you might like to see the new Canadian film, which is showing on Wednesday evening at 8 p.m. in Cinema 2, and that's called 3 Lives. It's had fantastic reviews, and tickets cost just £4.50, which is a reduction on the usual price of £5.50. So, it's really good value, especially for such a great movie. But you can see the centre's main attraction at the weekend, because on Saturday and Sunday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m, they're showing a wonderful new exhibition that hasn't been seen anywhere else in Europe yet. It's a collection of Chinese art called Faces of China. That's in Gallery 1, and it has some really fascinating paintings and sculptures by leading artists from all over China. And the good news is that it's completely free, so don't miss it. So why not go along to the National Arts Centre next week for one or all of these great events? And you can always pick up a programme and check out all the other performances and exhibitions on offer, or coming soon, on almost every day of the year. Next week, we'll be looking at the new Museum of Science.
Wonderful! This brings us to the end of part 2. Without further ado, let's start part 3.
You will hear 2 veterinary science students called Diana and Tim discussing their work placements and their course modules. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 26. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 26.
So, Tim, we have to do a short summary of our work experience on a farm.
Right. My farm was great, but arranging the work experience was hard. One problem was it was miles away and I don't drive. And also, I'd really wanted a placement for a month, but I could only get one for 2 weeks.
I was lucky. The farmer let me stay on the farm, so I didn't have to travel. But finding the right sort of farm to apply to wasn't easy.
No, they don't seem to have websites, do they? I found mine through a friend of my mother's, but it wasn't easy.
No.
My farm was mostly livestock, especially sheep. I really enjoyed helping out with them. I was up most of one night helping a sheep deliver a lamb.
On your own?
No, the farmer was there, and he told me what to do. It wasn't a straightforward birth, but I managed. It was a great feeling to see the lamb stagger to its feet and start feeding almost straight away, and to know that it was okay. Then another time, a lamb had broken its leg, and they got the vet in to set it, and he talked me through what he was doing. That was really useful.
Yes, my farm had sheep too. The farm was in a valley, and they had a lowland breed called Suffolks, although the farmer said they'd had other breeds in the past.
So were they bred for their meat?
Mostly, yes. They're quite big and solid.
My farm was up in the hills, and they had a different breed of sheep, They were Cheviots.
Oh, I heard their wool's really sought after.
Yes, it's very hard wearing, and they use it for carpets.
Right.
I was interested in the amount of supplements they add to animals' feed nowadays. Like, even the chickens got extra vitamins and electrolytes in their feed.
Yes, I found that too. And they're not cheap. But my farmer said some are overpriced for what they are, and he didn't give them as a matter of routine, just at times when the chickens seemed to particularly require them.
Yes, mine said the same. He said certain breeds of chickens might need more supplements than the others, but the cheap and expensive ones are all basically the same. So, did your farm have any other livestock, Diana?
Yes, dairy cows. Oh, I made a really embarrassing mistake when I was working in the milk shed. Some cows had been treated with antibiotics, so their milk wasn't suitable for human consumption, and it had to be put in a separate container. But I got mixed up, and I poured some milk from the wrong cow in with the milk for humans, so the whole lot had to be thrown away. The farmer wasn't too happy with me.
I asked my farmer how much he depended on the vet to deal with health problems. I'd read reports that the livestock's health is being affected as farmers are under pressure to increase production. Well, he didn't agree with that, but he said that actually some of the stuff the vets do, like minor operations, he'd be quite capable of doing himself.
Yeah, my farmer said the same, but he reckons vet skills are still needed.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 27 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 27 to 30.
Now we've got to give a bit of feedback about last term's modules. Just short comments, apparently. Shall we do that now?
OK, so medical terminology.
Well, my heart sank when I saw that, especially right at the beginning of the course, and I did struggle with it.
I thought it'd be hard, but actually I found it all quite straightforward. What did you think about diet and nutrition?
OK, I suppose.
Do you remember what they told us about pet food and the fact that there's such limited checking into whether or not it's contaminated? I mean, in comparison with the checks on food for humans, I thought that was terrible.
I think the module that really impressed me was the animal disease one, when we looked at domesticated animals in different parts of the world, like camels and water buffalo and alpaca. The economies of so many countries depend on these, but scientists don't know much about the diseases that affect them.
Yes. I thought they'd know a lot about ways of controlling and eradicating those diseases, but that's not the case at all. I loved the wildlife medication unit. Things like helping birds that have been caught in oil spills. That's something I hadn't thought about before.
Yeah, I thought I might write my dissertation on something connected with that.
Right. So, actually, I was thinking something along the same lines.
All right, you have now completed part 3. Again, if you find this test helpful, our experts at Leap Scholar can help you practice more tests, and they're even better. They cover all kinds of questions that you could encounter in your exam. So don't forget to sign up for the free demo. Okay, now only part 4 remains. Let's finish it up.
Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
Labyrinths have existed for well over 4,000 years. Labyrinths and labyrinthine symbols have been found in regions as diverse as modern-day Turkey, Ireland, Greece, and India. There are various designs of labyrinth, but what they all have in common is a winding spiral path which leads to a central area. There is one starting point at the entrance and the goal is to reach the central area. Finding your way through a labyrinth involves many twists and turns, but it's not possible to get lost, as there is only one single path. In modern times, the word labyrinth has taken on a different meaning and is often used as a synonym for a maze. A maze is quite different, as it is a kind of puzzle with an intricate network of paths. Mazes became fashionable in the 15th and 16th centuries in Europe and can still be found in the gardens of great houses and palaces. The paths are usually surrounded by thick, high hedges so that it's not possible to see over them. Entering a maze usually involves getting lost a few times before using logic to work out the pattern and find your way to the centre and then out again. There are lots of dead ends and paths which lead you back to where you started. The word maze is believed to come from a Scandinavian word for a state of confusion. This is where the word amazing comes from. Labyrinths, on the other hand, have a very different function. Although people now often refer to things they find complicated as labyrinths, this is not how they were seen in the past. The winding spiral of the labyrinth has been used for centuries as a metaphor for life's journey. It served as a spiritual reminder that there is purpose and meaning to our lives, and helped to give people a sense of direction. Labyrinths are thought to encourage a feeling of calm, and have been used as a meditation and prayer tool in many cultures over many centuries. The earliest examples of the labyrinth spiral pattern have been found carved into stone, from Sardinia to Scandinavia, from Arizona to India to Africa. In Europe, these spiral carvings date from the late Bronze Age. The Native American Pima tribe wove baskets with a circular labyrinth design that depicted their own cosmology. In ancient Greece, the labyrinth spiral was used on coins around 4,000 years ago. Labyrinths made of mosaics were commonly found in bathhouses, villas, and tombs throughout the Roman Empire. In northern Europe, there were actual physical labyrinths designed for walking on. These were cut into the turf or grass, usually in a circular pattern. The origin of these walking labyrinths remains unclear, but they were probably used for fertility rites, which may date back thousands of years. 11 examples of turf labyrinths survive today, including the largest one at Saffron Walden, England, which used to have a large tree in the middle of it. More recently, labyrinths have experienced something of a revival. Some believe that walking a labyrinth promotes healing and mindfulness, and there are those who believe in its emotional and physical benefits, which include slower breathing and a restored sense of balance and perspective. This idea has become so popular that labyrinths have been laid into the floors of spas, wellness centres, and even prisons in recent years. A pamphlet at Colorado Children's Hospital informs patients that walking a labyrinth can often calm people in the midst of a crisis. And apparently, it's not only patients who benefit. Many visitors find walking a labyrinth less stressful than sitting in a corridor or waiting room. Some doctors even walk the labyrinth during their breaks. In some hospitals, patients who can't walk can have a paper finger labyrinth brought to their bed. The science behind the theory is a little sketchy, but there are dozens of small-scale studies which support claims about the benefits of labyrinths. For example, one study found that walking a labyrinth provided short-term calming, relaxation and relief from anxiety for Alzheimer's patients. So what is it about labyrinths that makes their appeal so universal?
Congratulations, you just completed an actual IELTS listening test. Now one by one, let's discuss the answers. If your answer is correct, great, but for the ones you got incorrect, pay attention as to why you missed them. Let's begin. Let's look at part 1. Now you heard a conversation between a customer and an agent from a company that ships large boxes. For question 1, we were listening for a surname which is mentioned by the customer here. M-K-E-R-E. That was easy. Now question number 2. We want the name of a college and it's Westall. Question number 3 we know should be a postal code. This one's easy. BS8 9PU. Questions 4 and 5 look like dimensions of the box. So the answer for fourth one should be 0.75 meter and for the fifth one will be 0.5 meter. Writing meter in all the 3 forms is correct. You would get it right if you write 75 centimeter and 50 centimeter. Next up, question 6 and 7. There should be names of items. In our case, books and toys. Now there was a distractor here, clothes. You should not write clothes because it's already mentioned. Write some books or books and some toys or toys. Both would be counted as correct. Now lastly, question number 8. We are listening for a total. Now again in this case, there are distractors. He says 1500 and then says another 200. But the answer is neither of these. He says I'd put down 1700. So your answer should be 1700. Again, do not put the currency sign because it's already there. Next, questions 9 and 10. These are multiple choice questions. The answer to question 9 is C, premium. If you've written just C, it's correct. If you've written premium, it will be counted as incorrect. Answer 10 is A, port. Again, it's correct if you've written A. So we have completed part 1. Here's a snapshot of the answers for your reference. Hope you got them correct. Now moving on to part 2, note completion. The answer to question 11 is straight and simple, classical music. Next is question number 12. The complex consists of a lot of stuff, much of which is already mentioned. You need to find the missing option and it needs to be singular. Why? Make notice of the article given just before the number 12. So the answer is bookstore and not service facilities. Question 13 and 14. Speak about historical background. The answer is easy to spot. It's planned for 13 and 80s or 1983 for 14th. Question number 15. The answer is city council. Next question 16 is also pretty straightforward. 363, not 363 days. Okay, now note completion is done. The other questions in this section were in the form of a table. But you need not to be intimidated. It's still a form of note completion. So you had to solve it just like the first set. 17th is supposed to be a venue. The answer is garden hall. 18 should be the name of an event, which is 3 lives or 3 lives. Question 19 is a ticket price. The correct answer is here, 4.50. Lastly, question number 20. Again, an event, an art exhibition to be precise. And the answer is Faces of China. Now we are done with part 2. Here's a snapshot of the answers for your reference. Hope you're doing well so far. You see, knowing little tricks about how to write your answers will help you score more. Our experts at Leap Scholar teach you just that. So I'm restating, you should really try the free demo. Now let's move forward to part 3. This was a conversation between 2 students, Diana and Tim. Let's look at the multiple choice questions 21 to 26. Question number 21. The answer is 21. If you listen closely, both of them mentioned that making contact with farms was difficult. So if you've written A, it's correct. Next, question 22. The answer is B, a sheep that was having difficulty giving birth. The answer to question 23 is B, which was kind of stated directly here. So this one you should have got it right. Question 24. The correct answer is A. Now they talk about the cost, which is one of the options, but our question is asking about chicken feed. So do not pay attention to all that extra information. Just focus on the feed details which she mentions at the end. Next up, question number 25. The correct option is C. There is another distractor here. She says wrong cows, and we have an option that says identified cows incorrectly, but that isn't right. She identified the cow but mixed the milk at the wrong place. Hence the answer is C, right. Lastly, question 26. The answer is C. Now for the next set, you have to closely listen for the student's opinion. Question 27. The correct answer is A. Pretty straightforward. Question 28. Answer is E. The key phrase here is I thought it was terrible. Now it's not the same word as given in the answers. In the answer we have shocked. So just map the emotion there. Your options will often be paraphrased or synonyms will be used. So pay attention to that. Question 29. The correct answer is F, which is discussed here, and the answer to question 30 is C. Tim mentions wildlife medication and Dinah agrees that she'll pursue it further. Okay, so that brings us to the end of part 3. How's our score looking so far? Here's a screenshot of the answers for you to check. Let's look at the last section, part 4. So question number 31, the answer is puzzle. Now if you wrote kind of puzzle, it would be incorrect. Why? Because the instructions state that one word only. So read the instructions mindfully, else you might know an answer and still get it wrong. Question 32 has a distractor, getting lost. But the correct answer is logic. The answer to question 33 is confusion. It's not amazing. Moving on, question 34, the answer is meditation. If you've written prayer, it will be wrong, because while the uses are meditation and prayer, the word prayer is already mentioned in the question. Question 35, the answer is easy to find, stone. For 36, the answer is coins. For 37, the correct word is tree. Here the recording says middle and the question says center. So that's a keyword to find your answer. Question 38 is breathing. 39, paper, which is mentioned here. And lastly, question 40, the correct word will be anxiety. That's all. We've come to the end of our listening test. Here, quickly take a look at the answers for part 4. Okay, so we're done with our practice test. How was it? How many did you get correct? Tell me in the comment section. Also, did you find going through the answers helpful? It was good, right? When you practice with the teacher, they make sure that you understand the paper details. When you get an answer wrong and instantly understand why you got it wrong. That's the biggest learning. It could help you elevate your IELTS score. In the actual test. Our experts at Leap Scholar will teach you useful strategies and smart tips to ace these tests. So, if you want to practice more such tests, click on the link in the description and book a demo for free. That's all for today. Hope you found this session helpful. Click on the video on your screen to learn some quick listening tips and tricks. See you in the next one. Happy learning!
Please share your score in the comment box below. For more such training videos, subscribe to our channel, IELTS Prep by Leap Scholar.